Right, hello everyone. I believe I am live, hopefully. Um, yeah, no, I was gonna come on, try and fit in a live stream tonight after work at some point in the evening, but turns out I forgot I was actually on a later start at work today, so um, this is my best opportunity to get one in, so I'm gonna do one this morning. Um, so I'm gonna be talking mostly just about bikes, motorbikes. In this stream and also answering a question. I had a question from Leatherlad again, so thank you very much, Leatherlad, for giving me the messages. That's much appreciated. I'll bring it up in a minute and we'll talk about your question. Yeah, you had a couple of questions in there. First thing I'll just grab from this little office here is check this out. That's pretty cool, huh? This was a gift from my brother. I think it was Christmas time. I think it was a Christmas gift where you get this little kit where you pop out all these little wooden pieces and put them together and make a little motorbike. It's really cool. So thanks, bro, for that. That's mint. I really like that. I think this company, what they called, U Gears. I'm not I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I just think they make pretty cool products. I think they do all sorts, but I like the motorbike, so that takes place on that shelf there. Right. So let me bring up. Let's see if I can get this to work. I will bring up the Leatherlad's comment and we'll have a chat about it. So, this one? Yeah, there we go. Now the quality, you might not be able to read this, so I'm going to read it out here from here. So, says Leatherlad says, hello, thanks for the mention. Yep, no worries. Good to have you here. I do have a serious question for you. It says, I am new to biking and have to ride with the dreaded L plates. Ooh, the dreaded L plates. Yep, I had to do the same. I find that it seems to make me a target for drivers to get frustrated over, or for other bikers who think I am just some young chav looking to ride recklessly. I am 45 and certainly no chav or squid. Did you find the same when you got into biking? I really want to do my test this year, but it's expensive, and I'm sure I will get nervous and fail. Lol. I'm sure you'll be fine, okay? But we'll talk about this. Any advice? Question mark. Like you, I have had to swerve a few times due to people pulling out in front of me, and they don't even realize they did it. 3 exclamation points. Yes, we will talk about that as well. Right, let me just hide this for a minute. And I just need to check that the stream is still working, because it was acting weird. Right, okay, no, I think that's fine. Right, so first of all, let's see, what was your first question in here? So, did I experience the same when I got into biking about, what was it now, other people targeting you for getting, for drivers to get frustrated over, or for other bikers to think that I'm some young chav. How is it you know that's happening? When you say they seem to be targeting you, other drivers, I don't know what your situation is, whether you've got a 50cc or a 125. I know that when I was on a 50cc, it can only kind of keep up with 30-mile-an-hour traffic, and then if I happened to go onto a road that was 40 or 50 mile an hour or something like that, then it was a bit of an issue because obviously every car is up your back end trying to get past you and stuff. So that might be sort of construed as feeling like a target. If you're just riding your bike normally, I don't know what you mean by that. Maybe you could let me know what you mean by any incidents where you feel a car driver has been sort of making you a target in some way. Whether they've been just pulling out in front of you because they think, oh, it's a learner. They're going to take their time getting here, pull out. I don't know what you mean by that. Maybe you could help elaborate on that a bit for me. I don't think when I was on my L plates I particularly noticed anything like that. But when I was using the L plates is when I had a 125 which could keep up with traffic where I was on the roads I was going on. So there was nothing really hassling me to get by or anything. In terms of people pulling out in front of you, that can happen regardless of whether you're on a big 1000cc, GSXR or something, or if you're on a 50cc. That's not to do with the actual bike or the L blades. That's just to do with drivers not looking, not seeing you. And you said about how would other bikers think that you're some kind of chav looking to ride recklessly? Is this something they said to you? If they're just riding or riding past you, how would you know this? I'm curious. I still found that I still got the biker's nod, with other bikers, even when I was on L plates. I myself will do to any biker, as far as I'm concerned, you're on a bike, hey, you're a biker. And so I'll give you the biker's nod as you come past me. Absolutely. Doesn't matter to me whether somebody's on L plates or not. And we've all got to start somewhere. Um, so that hopefully that answers that one. I didn't really find any particular difference there with wearing L plates. Or anybody sort of I'm not quite sure whether this is just your perception of what people were thinking about you, or whether people have actually said things to you or verbalized things on the street. You might have to let me know there what you mean by that. Okay, so it says, did you find the same when you got into biking? Can't say I had the same experience, I'll be honest. It says, I really want to do my test this year, but it's expensive. I'm sure I'll get nervous and fail. Lol, any advice? Yes, I have some advice. So, I took lessons. Now, I'd been driving cars and stuff for many years, so the way the road works and traffic and stuff, I had no issue with as such. But I needed to learn, what you do in terms of a bike. There's all the things that are different with the mirrors, like your nodding dog thing. That mirror, your lifesaver over your shoulder whenever you're going to the right lane or turning right, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's new things to learn. So my advice was to get some proper lessons from a proper sort of motorcycle school. And then in terms of the tests, when I did it, it was a theory test, mod 1, and then mod 2. So it's in 3 parts. So theory test, as it says, theory test, it's paperwork type of thing, and you watch the screen and you press the space bar for the hazard perception when you see things getting dicey in front of you on the video screen. That's pretty self-explanatory. Once you've passed that, mod 1 is the bit that is all sort of in a big yard, so it's on the motorbike, but it's off the road. And I'll just bring up here, I actually got for you, oh hang on, I need to put a display, there we go. Let me try and zoom in on this. Come on, zoom in. So this is what it looks like. All these lines are sort of routes that you have to take. So there's slalom. That's where you got to go slowly around the cones, and then at the end you do like a figure of 8. I think you do it twice, and then you stop or something. They'll tell you what it is you need to do at the time. It may have changed slightly. Okay, it's all pretty easy stuff. There's a slow ride. That's where you're going in a straight line, I think, and they're walking with their arm out. You've got to slowly go behind them and keep your balance, and you're not allowed to overtake them, so it's just making sure that you can keep control at slow speed. All pretty easy stuff. When it comes to you go this big circuit bit where you go swooping around, there's twice you do this. There's once where you go around here and you've got to get up to a certain speed. They've got like the speed gun on you. You've got to get up to a certain speed, and then one of them, when I did it, was they've got it going the other way around this way. They've got it going counterclockwise. And then you've got to go a certain speed between here, and then you do like an emergency stop for one of them. Emergency stop, check over both shoulders, that kind of stuff. And then there's another one where you do it where hazard avoidance, where you go around here. You've got to get up to a certain speed, and then you've got to swerve around some cones, come to a controlled stop, and then again checking over both shoulders and stuff before you move off or whatever. My advice on mod 1, from my experience, was it was all pretty self-explanatory, but the first time I went around the circuit and did the emergency stop, so around, straight, emergency stop, I didn't actually get up to the required speed. You have to be there's a certain minimum speed you have to get to. I think it says here on the right. For the avoidance, it's... Oh no, I think it was that one I wasn't quick enough for. Oh no, there we go, emergency brake. You've got to get up to 32 miles an hour, 50 kph. No, it's not actually that big around here, so you need to really be putting the power on a little bit coming out of this last corner. Now, I was using a 500cc Honda at the time. So first time round, I was just shy of the speed thing. Now the good thing about mod 1 is you get more than one attempt. You do get 2 attempts. So I did everything else fine, and then they said, right, at this particular thing that you did, you were like a few kilometers per hour less than they should have been. And this is a weird thing. They ask you whether you want to end the test there, which means you fail. No. Or do you want to go and have your second attempt? You get one more attempt. So I was like, of course, yeah, I'll go and do it again. And so this time, I come in sweeping around that corner. I absolutely gunned it. I thought, there's no way I'm going to do this again just because it was a couple of kilometers below on their speed gun, so I gunned it. And the next time, yeah, I was above the limit required, did the emergency stop, all good, and I passed. I passed first time. Because, like I say, so yeah, don't get flustered if on one of those ones, if you don't get the speed required, don't panic. They will say to you you're allowed a second attempt. Unless any of this has changed since I did it. I mean, we're talking 10 years ago that I did it, something like that. But as far as I'm aware, that should be the same. So yeah, my advice is just try and relax. It's all off road. You know, if you're competent on the bike, this will all be fine. The guys there are usually pretty friendly. It's just a case of just making sure you get to the required speed before you do the hazard avoidance and the emergency brake. If you're not at the speed, they will give you that second attempt. So take the second attempt, and then if you need to, give it some gun it. That's what I did. So that's that bit. In terms of mod 2, it's on the road. There isn't really anything much I think I can say to prepare you. It's just you've got your earpiece in. They give you the instructions. All right, up there at the junction we're going to turn left, and this traffic lights we're going to turn right. You know, you've just got to ride competently. Remember to do your nodding dog things. Be observant. Just ride safely and within the speed limits and everything, and you should be fine. And if you've ever done a driving test before, it's kind of potluck, I suppose, in terms of what's going on around you. But as long as you just drive competently, you would pass. Right, there we go. That's always like with my car test, I passed first time, and hang on, let me just get rid of this a second. Yeah, car test I passed first time, and motorbike test I passed first time. Much to the annoyance of my wife, because she took they failed her on the first car test over something quite trivial though, actually. Just that as she was coming up to a red light, she was just easing off and slowing down, and they were saying that she was slowing down too soon. I think, what? But she had to do her car test again, so I've got bragging rights there and annoy her about that all the time. But yeah, so let me just bring up the next thing. So see if the boomer can get this to work. Here we go. So what was the rest of what you were asking? Any advice? Where is it now? That's my advice in terms of the bike test. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. Just make sure you're ready. You know, if you've had a few lessons, you're competent on a bike. You've been I mean, it sounds like you've been riding on L plates a while anyway. Yeah, all you can do is just when you can get a chance and a slot to do it, just go for it. And it's sequential, isn't it? You've got your 3 parts. So once you do your theory test, get out of the way, great, you've got that. Then your mod 1. And then once that's done, nice one, and then you've only got the last bit to do. So don't think of the whole thing as a whole, just one bit at a time. Just work on, make sure you get your theory good, ticked. Next time, yep, make sure you get your mod 1 sorted out. Yep, once that's done, and then you've only got the one more hurdle, and then you are good to go. Licensed. And of course, with all driving licenses, I think there's this thing where just be careful within the first 2 years. It's kind of probationary. If you get a certain amount of points in your license within the first 2 years, you lose the license, you have to redo it all again. So just make sure you take it easy. But that's good advice for a bike anyway, because you know the temptations with bikes is they're so powerful. Sometimes people go a bit silly, and you know you ride you ride on L plates, so you've been riding a while. But just take it easy. And then I think it's after 2 years, then there's a little bit more allowance in terms of points if you do end up doing something like going through a traffic light accidentally or something like that. Okay, so that's my advice there. Like you, have had to swerve a few times due to people pulling out in front of me, and they don't even realise they did it! Exclamation points. Yes, I can tell you a couple of stories on that for myself. One was just there was a van parked on the left-hand side of the road. No hazard lights, no indicators, just parked as if it was parked. So I'm coming along to go past it. It starts pulling out, no indication, just starts pulling out in front of me. So I hit my horn, slow down. It still keeps coming. I hit my horn again. It still keeps coming. It's just not bothering to look or listen or do anything. Now, because I was quite close to it when it started doing this, I'm sort of slowing down, but I'm not going to be able to stop. So I'm not going to be able to. There isn't physically. He didn't give me the space to stop. So basically, he's causing an emergency situation at this point. So I've hit my horn and slowing down, but he's still pulling in front of me. So I had to swerve to the other side of the road. Thankfully, I was kind of coming downhill, and I could see there was nothing coming. So I just had to go around him and then, get in front. And I was just like, the way with the helmet is and stuff, I couldn't see what they looked like or their reaction or anything, whether they even knew what they'd done. But once I sort of went around and in front, I think I just put my arms up like that as if to say, what are you doing? Yeah, these people, sadly, some of them will just never realise they're doing anything wrong until they, hurt somebody. The other one was I was going along, slowing down to take a right-hand turn, and there was the T-junction joining, and so there was a woman coming in a car there and stopping to wait to turn right, so she would be crossing my path. So I've got right of way to cross to the right, and then she's supposed to wait for me, and then she can go. So I'm slowing down anyway, getting quite slow because I've got to be almost stopped to turn right. And no, she didn't look properly, didn't see me, so she's turning right, so she just pulls straight out in front of me. So because I was already coming up for this junction to turn right, so I was sort of slowing down. So obviously I have to sort of stop, and because she's cutting straight in front of me. Now in the UK, you're so you're on the left-hand side of the road. Anyway, she pulls in front, so I have to stop. But to make sure, just in the heat of the moment, I did a rev bomb, so I hit my clutch, whacked the revs on, like, just to make the loud noise. At the time, seemed quicker than the horn even. Because I was already slowing down on the clutch to stop, I just rev bombed. And then the look on her face when she turned and looked and see that I was only about a meter away from her, and I'd had to stop because she was just pulling straight in front of me. She was a bit like rabbit in the headlights. So I'm like thinking to myself, yes, love, yes, you did nearly just wipe me out. Yeah, I did nearly just have to go straight into the side of your car there because you haven't got right of way and you just pulled straight in front of me. Yeah, this is the reality of what bikers have to deal with. But seeing the look on her face was quite... That gave a little bit of satisfaction. In fact, she was like, oh! Like, yeah, good. You should be shocked. You should be shocked at what you just nearly did, at your behaviour. Yeah, that's sorry. A little bit of a rant. I'll try and... I'll have some coffee and chill myself down a minute. Right. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll talk a little bit about my bike history. Let me just clear my throat 1 second. But thank you, Leather Lad, for the question. Thank you very much. Always nice to talk about things. And yeah, if you've got any more you want to elaborate on about how you think sort of some drivers see you as a target, or think of you as a chav because you're on L plates even though you're 45 years old, yeah, let me know how it is how that happened. Because is that, I'm thinking, is that just something you're thinking in your mind that they're thinking about you, or has somebody said something specific? So because obviously somebody passing in the street, you don't know what they're actually thinking. They might not be thinking that at all. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So let me just get rid of that a moment, and I will bring up instead. Don't save. Nope. I will get my first ever bike, that Yamaha Townmate that I mentioned. This was when I was about 17. Here we go. So you see how it's a little bit like a Honda Club 90 type of thing, but it was just a little 50cc 3-step through gears. Good times, because I came from a little village in Lincolnshire where there's not much in terms of anything going on, or buses much that you can catch to go places. So that was a lifesaver for me when I was young to get around. It was just great to have the freedom to go and visit friends and stuff and move around there. Obviously I had to just go on slow roads as much as I could because I didn't want to be going on any big roads on that. It would be horrendous for people going past. And there's the dreaded L plates. But yeah, that was a fun bike. That got stolen almost immediately as soon as I came to the big city. But so that was my first bike. So then I didn't have bikes for many years. When it got stolen, I just had a car. And then I got this little 50cc. This was when I was about 30. I got this little 50cc chopper, Chinese built thing, because it was cheap as chips. I think it was about 200 quid. Now the thing is, with this bike, it looked great. I really liked the look of it, but it just had no power. Bereft with some issues and problems, things I had to fix and weld and that kind of stuff. Every now and then bits would fail. The engine had issues in the cold and would be even more gutless. But that gave me the bike bug back, and I didn't have to run the L plates on that because it was a 50cc, and because I'm old as Methuselah, I'm very old. My license meant that I could ride a 50cc without any L plates on my driver's license, which is a rare thing, but I had that, so I had that a little while. Eventually that engine kind of died. But I was already thinking, no, I want to go and do the full test, a bit like you leather lads. So I then got myself this. Now this was imported from China, so it was new but very cheap. So it was like they did like a clone of Honda. One second. So it was like a little Honda 125. There was something to do with, they were cloning these bikes really cheap, these old bikes. I mean, it even had the drum brake on the front, which was pretty weak. And what else? This bike, the engine on it was pretty solid, and it could get up to, could keep up with traffic on the roads I was using and stuff. It was pretty good. It would go up to sort of, I think, about 60 mile an hour, no worries. Yeah, really cheap to run, 125. Obviously on the L plates for that one. I had to redo the CPT for that one because my driver's license would only allow me to do 50cc without it. And then, but all this chrome bit at the front just became rust almost immediately because built in China. And my issue with this was with the DVLA. Oh man, the DVLA, they did my head in so much. It came with all the certificates of conformity to register, and then you only have to do an MOT 3 years later because it's a new vehicle. Unfortunately, because it had been in the country for more than 5 minutes, they had changed some rules and those certificates were no longer valid, so I had to arrange to take it to VOSA in Newcastle, do some silly test on there. And the irony is, because they had to make sure it conformed to British standards in terms of the height of the lights, the distance between the indicators, all that kind of stuff, which was already conformed. But the only thing that they actually changed that made it this necessary was something to do with emissions, to do with cars, because emissions weren't even a thing for motorbike tests. So I had to go through all this rigmarole. It took me about an extra month and cost me a couple of £100, I think. Because of bureaucratic nonsense and stuff that wasn't even relevant to the bike. It was so annoying. I was not happy with the DVLA at the time, and politics in general, and government just interfering in every little aspect of people's lives. But anyway, eventually they got off their backside and they got it registered, so I was able to use it. I think I used that for about a year, and did quite a fun little bike. I mean, it did try to kill me a couple of times because, built in China, like the swing arm axle, there wasn't like any kind of retraining R-clip or anything in the end. I found this out when, of course, the nut had shaken itself loose, unbeknownst to me. So I was going around a roundabout on the way to just near work, and it was quite a slow pace because I was just coming around the roundabout slowly, and it all got a bit weird and wobbly, so I managed to get it over to the side of the road, but part of the swing arm axle had just moved along enough to just drop out. And I was like, okay, yeah, thankfully that happened when I was going slowly and not quickly. So I modified that. I think I ended up welding some stuff and making my own swing arm axle, just the axle, not the swing arm itself. Sorted that out. But yeah, my advice to anybody, if you were ever getting any bike built in China, check all the nuts and bolts, maybe put lock thread on, maybe add some safety pins and split pins and R-clips and things where there might not be any, just, yeah, for your own safety. Yeah, so that was that bike. So served its purpose, got me about, got me to work and back, gave me some more experience on the bike, getting used to clutches, gears, all that kind of stuff, all good stuff, ready for the big test. So then had some time on the bigger bikes once I passed my test, and The most I've been able to afford really is this old Triumph TT600, the one that I've got now. So I did 1 year take it to Cadwell Park for a track day, and that is here. This was possibly the coolest thing I've done on a motorbike. This was Cadwell Park. For anybody who knows that in Lincolnshire, there's a racetrack. You can do a track day there, and there's a section called the Mountain where it's like a hard sort of 90-degree left, then a 90-degree right, and then it goes uphill, and then the hill sort of slopes down a little bit, and it's this. If you manage to gather enough corner speed and keep the power on, it makes your bike pull a wheelie. And now the first time I did this, I'll be honest, I kind of papped myself a little bit because I'd never done a wheelie before properly. I'm not very good at wheelies, I'll be honest. It's not my, I'm not very skilled in that, but now, it depends on your bike. With the modern bikes, the powerful bikes, you wouldn't even need to have to go around that last corner very fast. If you just put the power on up here and keep the power on, it'll lift, it'll do a wheelie. My bike's a bit older, a bit heavier, less power, 600cc. To get it to do this, I actually had to carry some decent corner speed around those two corners, and then gun it to get it to actually do this. But when it did, you started feeling it going up. That was a great feeling. After the first one frightened the life out of me. But once you got used to it, you know what to expect. Then it became a bit more fun. Now, with this track day as well, the photographer, you see him in between sessions. He'll go around to different parts of the track. So we were all asking him, when are you going to be? Which session are you going to be photographing at the mountain? Sorry, I just finished the coffee. Okay, 1 second. Oh, that's good coffee. Right, so we all knew, right, okay, it's going to be the next session, for example, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to be there at the mountain, photographing at the mountain. So as we're going around, we're all trying to sort of like do decent wheelies for the photos and stuff, and now at the time, obviously, I didn't know what he'd been snapping, so I'd just been trying to do a decent sort of wheelie every time. We'll get back, and then there was a couple that were just sort of there where the hut bit is, where there's bacon sarnies and stuff, that were watching. And there's an older couple were observing. I think maybe one of their relatives was on track or something, and they said, "Oh, we saw when you were going around doing a wheelie at the mountain, and we looked at the photographer, and he was, for the first 3 times, he was on his phone." It's like, so I'm kind of lucky really that I'd carried on with it. He managed to get some really good photographs. So I wanted a copy of that one because I thought it was particularly nice photos. So thank you very much to the photographer. I paid for that one. I think he was quite reasonable. I think he did you could buy a CD for all of the photos of you on the track for whatever it was, 30 odd quid or 40 quid or whatever. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I think you could get each photo for 6 quid each or something. So I think I got a couple. So that was Cadwell, and then I went to Croft Racetrack once as well, or a couple of times. When I could afford it, I did about once a year if I could. And so this was at Croft. I thought this was quite a nice photo. Didn't quite have knee down on this photograph. I have experienced the knee slider scraping on the ground, turning right. Just never caught it on the camera though. It's a little bit of a shame, but you can get the idea here. You can see having fun. Just trying to think which part of the track this is. I'm not entirely sure. It might be a sort of part of a double right, because I'm quite far from the apex there. There was a bit near the end before the main straight where it's like a kind of a double corner, so you go for the second apex of it, and then it's a really steep left, which I hated because I'm not as good turning left as I am right, and then it was the straight. The shame for me though on the straight was because everybody else there had more powerful bikes, modern bikes, 1000ccs. As soon as it got to the straight, they could all just come tearing past me, even though I had a gun. There's nothing you can do. But it's quite a good feeling on track if you are quicker than somebody as you're coming up to the corners, if they brake earlier or don't carry as much corner speed, because you see yourself gaining a little bit, and I can see why people like motor racing. I think had I had money and opportunity, I don't know, I might have been reasonable at that. It's hard to know what level you could get to. But I did do 1 year a track training day at Teesside with James Whittam. For anybody who's into bikes might know, James Whittam is an ex-racer who does commentating on the telly and stuff. Really nice guy, really down to earth Yorkshire lad. and I was at Teesside there, and it was actually when he was just behind me on track one time. It was a right-hand corner, and I was getting across to the left about as much as possible to try and then go towards the apex and try and square off the corner there. I went a little bit too far left, and I didn't realise I was getting into a dirty part of the track where there's a lot of the marbles, as they call it, and dust and stuff. So when I did start turning, and I thought, oh, the apex is still way over there. I need to go harder here. I went too far and low-sided and came off. It's on my YouTube channel. I think I put a clip there, and the bike spins around a couple of times, and then where the camera ends up, you can see the marshal nonchalantly just putting down his green flag, picking up his yellow flag. Yeah, somebody's come off. I was fine. The bike needed a little bit of fixing. Managed to get back out on track for the rest of the session. The foot peg had gone. I think we had to put a bolt in instead. I just used like a big long bolt as something to put my feet on. The brake lever had broken, but thankfully somebody had a spare one, because you'll find with track days people are usually really friendly. Some people have spare parts, so I just gave him like 20 quid for that, and he said yeah, you can swap that over, and it was good. So it was a good experience though, because James was saying to me after, he was saying there are some people on track where they're doing everything right, and he'll say to them, all you need to do is just 10% more, 10% more lean, 10% more this, that, the other. And he says some people have it in their head where there's some kind of blocker in their mind, they just can't do it. You know, they're too, the part of the brain that says no, this, you know, something's wrong, stops them from that. He said, well, you've clearly not got that. I was like, yes, so it's a good thing, because yeah, I was just like, no, I'll just keep going until I know where the grip level is. I was like, okay, now I know that's the limit. I can't go further than that because I'll lose the front. So yeah, that was interesting to find out about myself. So yeah, who knows? It might be nice if when I get old, if I've got time and opportunity and money to maybe sort of get involved in some amateur racing, would be fun. But it's such an expensive thing, and I'm just not a wealthy person. But yeah, that was fun. But I like to keep that for the track, because you know, you see people going really fast speeds on roads, and the only thing with roads is you don't know whether a van, say some scrap van, has just dropped a bit of rubble or a bit of metal off the back of the van. So you know, if on a motorway or something, you could accidentally, you know what I mean. Where on the racetrack, it's controlled environment, it's clean. You know you're not going to accidentally come across a piece of brick or something like that. So if you want to go fast, I'd say get it out of your system on the track. That's what they're there for. Yeah, that's my advice on that. You can have fun there, and then because the surface of the track as well is so much nicer than roads, so much grippier, so much safer, so much I just feel so good. Because after the track day, I would always ride my bike to the track, because I don't own a van or anything, and I don't have that kind of money. I would just have to take the risk of taking my bike to the track. When you come back onto the public roads afterwards, it feels like dog meat. It's like, so many potholes and bumpiness, and it's like, really, compared to the glorious loveliness of the track. So yeah, that's a little bit about my biking history. So Leather Lad, yeah, I would say, yeah, stay safe, mates. Stay safe with the biking. I wish you all the best with going for the full test. I'm sure you'll do fine. And yeah, I can't say that I've had any, I can think of any notable people give me any grief being on L plates. You occasionally get a biker that won't do the bike or not or whatever, but I don't know, that's on them. Just, everybody's different. I always like to do the nod back to people, regardless of even if they're on a little scooter or L plates, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. If you're on a bike, hey biker, I'll give you the nod. So yeah, that's that. I'll just see if there is any chat. I don't think so. At this time in the morning, everyone's going to be at work, and if there's anybody in America, it's going to be in the middle of the night. So unless there's some kind of insomniac here, it's yeah, no, okay, that's fine. Right, so I hope that answered your question, Leather Lad. If you've got any other questions, feel free, pop them on there. Same goes for anybody else. And I'm not sure what I'll do next time. Might be another look at the news. Might talk a little bit about my animations and things I've done in the past. Don't know. I'll just I'll do my DanceBiker rambling. But yeah, it's been fun. I best get on. Got stuff to do. But have a great day, everyone, and I will see you all on the next stream. Okay, bye.